All right, first grade, here we are again together for phonics, which, I mean, what could be more fun than that? So happy Monday to you. Happy phonics, happy R-controlled vowel practice, which is what we're going to do today. I mean, come on, guys. Show me how excited you are. You should be more excited. R-controlled vowels are amazing, and you guys are doing such a good job with them. And so today I want to remind you, even though I've reminded you of this several times, I want to remind you that it's not just important to listen to see if a word sounds right. Sometimes you have to look and see if that word just looks right. Okay? So that's a very grown-up thing to be able to do. To be able to look at a word and say, I didn't spell that right. Or to look at a word and say, oh, I didn't read that correctly. I need to read it another way. So do you remember back when, I was at the beginning of the year, do you even remember that when we were all virtual? Gosh, back at the beginning of the year, I told you kind of a grown-up thing that letter C can make two sounds, right? Do you remember that? When we talked about Cinderella and Cookie Monster? So I kind of wrote their names here, and I want you to take a look at them for a second. Is there a part of you that goes, those look sort of right, but also they really look sort of wrong? Do you guys feel that? Yeah, because I'm looking at them going, wait a minute, those just don't look right. The sounds that I have here are absolutely correct. K for cookie, that sounds great. S for Cinderella. Did I change the sounds of these words at all? I didn't, but you know, like I said, it's not important to just hear the sounds in words, but it's important to look and see if they look right. And I'm sorry, but this doesn't look right. So I'm going to move this for a moment and tell me what you think about this. This Cinderella. Tell me with your eyes, because the sounds are the same. Yeah, this one looks right, right? The other one just did not look right at all. And in this word, the C is making the soft sound, so it's making the sound. Take a look at Cookie Monster here. We know that doesn't look right. Take a look here. What about now? Does it look right? Yeah, see, that's why it's so tricky, guys. The sounds are exactly the same. Whether I spell this with a C or a K, it's going to say Cookie Monster. But it just doesn't look right. And so we knew we had to fix it. And so that's basically what we're going to work on today, is making sure that you are asking yourself and really using your eyes to see, does that look right? And if it looks off, you need to fix it. Okay? So I wanted to show you just kind of some examples of like some bloopers and some things that just don't look quite right. What do you notice about this picture? Do you know what these are? They're pencils. Yeah, but what do we have right here? See, now this would drive me crazy. We have one that's upside down and the eraser's sticking out. That can't be. That's kind of a blooper, right? That doesn't look right. Take a look at the next picture. Yeah, that doesn't look right either. What's the problem here? We've got one red peep and all the rest of the peeps are blue. What do you think about peeps, by the way? Good? Bad? Ugh, not my favorite. But yeah, this peep doesn't look right. These should be all blue. And so our eyes are noticing in these pictures where things don't look the way they should. And our eyes are also capable of doing that when we're looking at words that we're reading and writing. So I have a piece of writing for you. And this is from Finley, a friend of mine, who wrote this story. And I want to read through this story called Ian Super Skater. And in this story, the first time, I just want you to listen. The second time, I want you to give me a great big thumbs up when I come to a word that has the air sound in it. So we know that the sound, that it can be made lots of different ways. But today we're really focusing on the air sound. Okay, and so air, like in pear, can be spelled lots of different ways. We can use A-I-R, we can use E-A-R, we can use A-R-E. So we're going to be listening for air words. Are you ready? Okay. This first time we're just going to listen. Ian had a new pair of skates. He wanted to be a super skater. He wanted to do big jumps in the air. He liked to picture his mom standing there. He knew she would stare when he jumped. She would say, "Someday you'll wear a medal," or "you will wear a medal." So while I was reading this writing, did you happen to hear any of those air words that we're listening for? Okay, I'm going to read it one more time. This time just close your eyes. I'm going to read it quickly. Ian had a new pair of skates. He wanted to be a super skater. He wanted to do big jumps in the air. He liked to picture his mom standing there. He knew she would stare when he jumped. She would say, "Someday you will wear a medal." Okay, now I'm going to read it slowly this time, and I'm going to grab my highlighter. Let's see. We'll do yellow. Yellow highlighter. And I want you to put a thumb up when you hear an air word. So we're not listening for all of the R-controlled vowel words today, just the vowels that make the air sound. Okay, let's say it one time together. Air. You ready? I'm going to read you the first sentence. Ian had a new pair of skates. Oh, did your thumbs go up? What word did we find? We found the word pair. And you know what I think I want you to do? I kind of changed my mind mid-work here. Let's pause for a moment. Go ahead and grab your whiteboard and your marker, because I think it's a good idea to practice writing these words so we can really look at how air is spelled differently in each word. So I'm going to pause. Sorry for changing my mind mid-lesson, but I would like you to write these down. So go ahead and grab a whiteboard and a marker and come on back. Okay, you have that whiteboard and marker back. First thing I want you to do, write down pair. P-A-I-R. And you know, just like always, if I'm going too quickly, go ahead and pause. So Ian had a new pair of skates. In this word, we spelled it A-I-R, pair. He wanted to be a super skater. Did you hear any air words there? No, I see some R-controlled vowels, but not the air sound that we're talking about. So I didn't see any there. Ready for the next one? He wanted to do big jumps in the air. What do you hear? Did you see it? Did you hear it? Well, yeah, we actually found the word air. Go ahead and write that down. A-I-R. Write it under the word pair. He liked to picture his mom standing there. He liked to picture his mom standing there. Did anybody have a thumb up? Because this one's one that we're not going to find it with our eyes too easily. We're going to have to find it with our ears. He liked to picture his mom standing there. Guess what, guys? The word there also has air inside of it. Okay? Now, it's spelled differently. We can spell air lots of different ways, but this is one of the ways, E-R-E. So go ahead and write the word there under the word air. I'm sorry if you can hear my squeaky chair. Hey, that was a rhyme. My chair is really squeaky today. All right. He knew she would stare when he jumped. Did you hear it? Oh, our thumbs up. He knew she would stare when he jumped. What word did you hear? What? Stare. All right, go ahead and write it under the word there. Good. Last one. She would say, "Someday you will wear a medal." Did you hear it in the sentence too? Yeah, guys, we heard it with wear. So go ahead and write that down, W-E-A or W-E-A-R. And so we're going to make just a little list of all the ways that we saw air spelled. Well, we saw A-I-R, right? Let me get out my notes here because I can't see under my sticky note sign there. We found E-R-E as a way to spell air. We found A-R-E. Whoops. And we found E-A-R. So with these words, it's just so tricky because there are 4 different ways that you can write the word or the part air in a word. So these are controlled vowels are really probably the trickiest of them all. They're almost always at the end. And so that gets tricky as well. There's no clue about things being in the middle. You see these lots of times at the ends of words. And so it's one of those times where you just have to really use your eyes, and you might have to write the word 3 or 4 times, spelling it a different way each time to say, well, wait a minute, does this look right? So your teacher, if you're at school, is going to give you some sentences. And if you're not at school and you're with me, you're just going to use this on the board, but you're going to need a whiteboard and a marker. There is some fixing for you to do. These are air words. And there's 4 sentences. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to number those really quickly. Now, my writing usually on the board is terrible, but just so that you can see each one, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I will tell you, there is at least one mistake in each of these sentences about an air sound in a word. The sounds are all correct, but you have to look and see what doesn't look right and how can I fix it. So give me just a moment because I'm going to add something to this to help you. I went ahead on the side of this page and added the 4 different spellings that we have for air. And so what I want you to do, you can do this as a class, you can do this as a partner, you can do it independently, however your teacher decides. Obviously, my students, you're going to do this by yourself. I want you to find which word does not look right, that has the air sound. And I want you to put an X on that word. Now, my students, obviously you don't have this paper, so you just write down the word that is wrong. And then what I want you to do, either above it or below it or on your whiteboard, I want you to write what you think is the correct spelling. So there's at least 1, sometimes 2, in each sentence. Take your time to go ahead and do that and then come back. All right, let's get ready to check our work. When I went camping, I saw a huge bear. Well, that doesn't look right. Were you able to figure out that bear should look like this? E-A-R. If you did, give yourself a pat in the back. If you didn't, fix it and let's move on. Be careful going up the stairs. Ugh, what do you think? Were you able to figure out that stairs actually looks like this? S-T-A-I-R-S. After you get up from your seat, push in your chair. Were you able to figure out the chair had A-I-R in it? All right, and here was our double. There were 2 words. When we share, things are fair. Were you able to figure out that share is A-R-E? And fair is A-I-R. Guys, what makes this so tricky is that the sounds are all the same. So we have to really rely on what we know as readers, as writers, as phonics professors. We have to really study these words and say, okay, what looks right? And we have to be tough enough to also say, I may have to write this word 3 or 4 times to make sure it's the right one. We can't be kind of lazy and snappy and quick in our decisions and say, that one's good enough. We need to write it out sometimes several times to see which one is the right one. All right, guys, I'll see you on Wednesday for Word Work Wednesday. Have a great afternoon.